coming back after a lovely long weekend with my friends in New Hampshire, and I don't know, have just been like super just focused on gratitude and God and praying, and two things just really keep sticking out for me. That just like sticking out, meaning they just keep the thoughts of them keep reoccurring, and I'm just sitting with them. I think I've mentioned both in my book. Definitely, the one um, where, so I'll share the both stories. And I guess what's my intention? Okay. Um, so someone asked me if I was religious, and I'm not very religious, but I'm extremely spiritual. And when I say that, I believe in God, and I call God source, the universe. And when I say I'm not very religious, it's just that I don't believe that I have to go to church to give praise, to give thanks. I have read the Bible. I believe in the stories and the power. So I guess that's a little bit there. Not that any of that matters for what I'm about to say and share. When you're going through something very hard, faith is very hard. When life is easy, or not necessarily easy, but calm, it's easy to have faith, right? Faith to trust and to know, and faith to understand, and faith to hope. When life gets difficult and dark, and it's hard to find the light, and it's hard to keep the light and hold on to the light, and it's hard to trust, it's hard to have faith and understanding when something is happening that you weren't anticipating, that you don't feel that should be happening to you, right? And good things happen to good people, bad things happen to good people, good things happen to bad people, so all of the things. And it's hard, right, when you're good and you do good and you believe that, right, you would think and hope that it should exempt you from hardships and exempt you from things happening, but that's just not the case. The universe doesn't appear to work that way, right? So for me, my journey had some, dark moments for sure. And I always go back to Job, the book of Job, and Job's story. And it really just stuck with me. I know I've mentioned it before, but really stuck with me for a very long time. And still now, when as a child, and then when all of this just started, all the things started transpiring, I just really felt like I was being tested. I felt like I was under spiritual attack in some ways. It just felt like everything that could go wrong was going wrong. And, but I will say I never cursed God. I never, did that. For me, I just submitted, and I said, okay, I understand, and I'm going to try and figure out the lesson. I'm going to get through, and I'm going to try and understand and find the silver lining. And in that, there were two distinct moments for me. One was in the very beginning of chemo, about I think it was after my first round. It was Halloween, and I handed out candy because it's my favorite thing to do. And for some reason, I don't think I ate, I was still kind of doing, being normal. And all of a sudden, I got the worst headache. I had been outside handing out candy, and I had come in because I had noticed my hand started shaking. And all of a sudden, like everything just hit me like a ton of bricks. My sinuses were dry because apparently, not apparently, chemo just, it does all this messed up stuff to your body and to your system. And, I didn't want to read the side effects because I believed that if I read them, that, I would manifest them. And also, I would probably not want to do it, right? Like, some things you just know you're not going to want to, like, why would I opt into that? And I just remember the pain I was in was just so, it just hurt to exist. And the next day, it didn't get any better. And all I could do was sit actually on the couch that I'm sitting on now, and I was just crying. I couldn't find the light. I couldn't find God. I couldn't reach him. And I just remember crying. If anyone called, I just didn't answer the phone. I couldn't find myself. I couldn't get out of the hole that I was in. And the thought of going outside was suffocating. The thought of being here was suffocating. And I just couldn't find the light. And I remember sitting here facing the window, my phone sitting on the side, and I saw a particular friend call. And I didn't think I picked up, but I really couldn't speak. And they're like, "How are you doing?" And I barely was able to say, "I'm not okay," which is not like me because I'm always positive, right? And I can always find the light and I can always be positive. But in this moment, I couldn't. And I couldn't pick up the phone. I didn't know how to call someone and say, I need help. I'm struggling. I can't find the light. And in this moment, my friend said to me, "Don't let the devil win." And I'm sure, like, in this, if I went to him and said, "Do you remember saying that to me?" he would probably not remember. And it was those words that made all the difference, that literally flipped my entire day around. And I said, okay, I won't let him win. Hung up the phone. I was able to stop crying. I was able to just get it together, and I could see the light, and I just kept going to the light. And it was just so impactful to me. And I'm sure, like I said, this person probably won't even remember saying it. And hopefully, whenever they read the book and they see that moment, they'll remember and they'll be like, yeah, but like, if you're ever moved to call somebody and say something, like, do it. Like, that literally was a lifeline for me that day. And then there was another day that a girlfriend, I don't know how or why, it was a very, very hard day. I think I spent the day crying. I couldn't get dressed. I couldn't go outside. The thought of going outside was extremely overwhelming. The thought of being inside was extremely overwhelming. I was having panic attacks because I was mourning the fact that I may not be able to have children. I may not be able to get married. I may not be able to do all these things. And it was a very, I understand, in hindsight, a very negative day of like a spiral of just happening, and it was sucking me down. But it was like true feelings that I was feeling. I was like, if this is it for me, like, this is it. And because when you're in that deep, it's hard to see beyond the moment. And all I ever wanted was to be a mom. All I ever wanted was to have a chance to be a wife and to have a family and to build, and create, with my person, my partner. And all of this happening was just not allowing any of that to happen. And I had to face the fact that it may not happen for many different reasons. Like, I could die, and then that was it. And so all of those thoughts were coming, and I literally felt like a ton of bricks was just like stacking on my chest. I couldn't breathe. It was just like, crazy. And I couldn't see the light. No matter what I said or did, like, I was just like trying to be positive, but it felt like toxic. toxic positivity. And I said, I don't know how to get out of this. And a friend had called, I didn't answer the phone. And then there was a text, are you home? And I don't know, I have to look back if I had responded right away and might have said it's not a good time, or might not have responded at all. And she said, I left something for you in your mailbox. And I go, okay, that's odd. This person lives in Astoria, but not quite near me. So, like she had to go out of her, essentially, basically what I'm saying is she had to go out of her way to put something in my mailbox. And so I gather myself, I was crying, I stopped crying. And she said, don't worry, I'm not there anymore. And I'm like, okay. Because I really just didn't want to interact with anyone. It wasn't personal, it was just where I was. And I go down to my mailbox, and at the mailbox is this. And it's so silly because it's just across a palm, because I guess it was, Easter or Palm, Sunday or whatever that was. Because again, I'm not religious, so I just know of this because when I moved to New York, I noticed Ash Wednesday when everyone has the ash, and then this. And in that moment, clearly I still have it, this is years later, 2 years later at this point. And I just remember seeing it and dropping to my knees because I was like, this is God, I will not forget you. I have you carved in the palm of my hand. That's a verse that always sticks with me because whenever I feel like I'm forgotten, I hear that in my head. I've not forgotten you. I have you carved in the palm of my hand. And so when she left this in my mailbox, something that she was moved to do, right? She didn't know that I was having like the second worst day of my life. And she was moved and she left this in my mailbox. And for me, it was God speaking to me, just like it was God speaking to me the time my friend called and just said those words to me, do not let the devil win, don't let the devil win. And I was like, whoa, okay, God, source, universe, I hear you, I feel you. And then in this day, this blows me away every day, even still when I see it, right? Like she went out of her way and left something in my mailbox. And that something literally changed the trajectory of my day and my healing, everything, because when you're going through something, you can often feel forgotten. You can often feel and be isolated, right? Because you're just trying to process what you're going through and mourn all the things that are going on that you just wasn't on your bingo card. So it's just these moments and messages and signs and things and that move through people that are beautiful and give me the faith and just make me so grateful and so thankful. And I just want to say, God is real, keep your faith, and, don't let the devil win, and just keep your faith and reach out. And if you can't reach out, because I've been there, maybe read the Bible or, do something that brings you comfort. And I guess that's really all I wanted to share today. Thank you for tuning in. And again, if you ever feel moved to reach out to someone, if someone is on your mind and they keep coming up on your mind, just check on them. We are all, an angel to someone. God moves through us. We don't know sometimes the whys or the hows, but if you're moved to be there for someone, and it doesn't have to be to talk to them. Sometimes it's just to listen, or just sometimes you don't even know why you're moved to do something and you just do it, and it can literally be everything to someone. So thank you to my two angels, and I have many more angels. But these two moments will probably stay with me for the rest of my life, and for that I am grateful and I am thankful. And I hope that this reaches whoever it needs to reach.